am KEV Roberts, the host of Northern Soul Time, and today we've got a special guest who, for me, at the moment, he's the most popular Northern Soul record dealer in the land. He's from the West Midlands. Pete Smith is with us. Hi, Pete.
Hello, Kev.
Great to see you.
Yeah, nice
Great
to see you.
We both share our love of football.
Correct.
And
Although
you support one
off
team, I support a team, but we share the same song when they both run out to, which is Hi Ho Silver Lining. Yes.
When did you adopt that?
I have got no idea, but just to tell you something, the guy who co-wrote that, I've met him.
Who is he?
Larry Weiss.
Okay.
He wrote Sweet Happiness for Nubian Johnson,
okay, yeah.
and I Go to Pieces.
Although we do only play that by default because Liquidators are our song, but they banned us. They banned it. So.
But that was Chelsea.
Well, it was Chelsea, West Brom and Wolves.
Oh, right.
It's always been, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, what a journey. We'll talk about your record dealing, we'll talk about your podcast, but how did you get into all this?
Well, records, to be honest. I've grown up with records or from the age of nothing. My mum had a big collection of records, rock and roll records, mainly. Elvis, Everly Brothers, Bill Haley.
Yeah.
I used to love to play these.
Yeah.
I mean, before I could, read or anything like that, I used. The main thing was to put that record on, put the thing across on the dance set, press the button, watch it drop, the arm comes across and lands on it, music comes out.
Yeah.
And to a tiny kid, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So I started playing these records, and they used to say, like, Pete, can you go and play Jailhouse Rock?
Yeah.
And I couldn't read, but I could read the type size. So, for each record, I knew exactly which one it was because of the colour of the label. So that was my party trick. They'd say, go and play this record, and I would.
Lovely. You are definitely the go-to guy for people wanting information. You're very, very generous with your time. And as I say, I don't want to make you blush, but you are undoubtedly, if people are on social media, Pete Smith comes up pretty much more than anybody. But when did you become a record dealer? How, buying and selling? Was it a natural?
I used to sell records at school.
Right.
Okay. Just.
And I did a paper round.
Hold on. Now, just a sec. I did a paper round because I only got 25 pence with pocket money. Yeah. With my paper round money, I bought my first ever Emmy disc. It took me 3 weeks to save up the money for that £5.
Yeah.
And that was all paper round money. But I always had a lot of records. As I say, my mum had a lot of records.
Yeah.
I started accumulating my auntie's cast-offs, like your Elgins, Evan must have sent you, things like that.
So it was soul that took a toehold on you straight away?
I first heard soul down at the football.
Right.
Before the pre-match. So This Old Heart of Mine. And at the time when all the Motown reissues were coming out.
Yeah.
So the soul and the reggae.
Yeah.
And so I was 8, 9, and I loved it.
I mean, it was a brilliant area for it, and still is. Wolverhampton. It's one of the greats, isn't it? One of the great towns.
But I mean, if you're talking about a turning point, it'd be age 13 going to the youth club,
right?
Because that's when I started hearing.
And you wheel and deal with?
No, not exactly. I swap. Yeah. With people.
Yeah.
But if any, once I got fed up of them, I would take them to school and sell them for 10 pence or 15 pence,
Yeah.
But I mean, bear in mind, I had no budget, so. Yeah. But somehow I accumulated a massive pile of my own records.
Good training, that's for sure.
I found soul music quite boring. I honestly did at the disco. Like they were playing Sex Machine and Band of Gold and all these records, and it wasn't until I heard this particular record at the front here that I thought, my God, that's different to anything I've ever heard. Yeah. And that's when it all started to change a bit for me, to be honest.
What was that record, by the way?
That record, well, it's not an original. I have had the original.
Yeah.
But this is what we knew it as.
Yeah.
The Joker, Butch Baker.
Yeah.
Misspelt as the Jocker.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's actually the Milestones.
All part of growing up.
Yeah. So
wonderful.
while all these nice Philly records and everything were being played, all of a sudden I heard this. I'd never heard anything with a beat like that.
Sure.
I mean, the backing track's fantastic. The actual laughing and all that's a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But oh my God, I nearly wore this record out. Yeah. Now this is at the start of 1974.
Yeah.
And following on from that, we saw things like the Javels and the Wigan Ovation and all this. And then when the lads and the girls from appeared on Top of the Pops dancing to Footsie.
Yeah.
And I think for me and a lot of people at my age, 14, looked at that and thought, what's that? I've got to get involved in that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's exciting.
And I even remember the first record I ever danced to in public, because I've been training in the bedroom for weeks, and it was Ghost in My House.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a really strong period, that was.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you find everybody in my year at school, more or less, either went to Northern Soul or they put on these RAF long coats and were into Focus and Genesis and Yes.
Yeah.
So it was either one thing or the other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was a resident at the Wolfram around that time, 74 as well. Which was
that... Sylvie...
Nita Anderson
Agency.
The Anderson Agency, I used to work there, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, because that was a big crowd. You know, I used to hold about 800 or 900. It was great. So, what were the songs outside of the these initial finds of Wigan's Ovation, or not finds, but hearing them? What was the next level?
Well, the next level, it was at the youth club. The one night, these 5 or 6 lads who we didn't know came in, and they actually gave the DJ their own records.
Yeah.
And they played Girl Don't Make Me Wait, or Bunny Sigler.
Right. Yeah.
And they started dancing, and everybody, know, you've seen it.
Yeah.
They make a circle.
Yeah.
Watch these lads. Oh my goodness me!
Yeah.
They were just like the people who'd been dancing to Footsie.
Sure.
And I thought, this is just mind-blowing. Tainted Love. I mean, I'd never heard it before. Yeah. I managed to get a copy on the next Saturday because it had been,
reissued.
It was at Ruby Red Records.
Yeah.
Another one, believe it or not, was Love Feeling, Val McKenna. That was
on Spark.
It was a massive record. Yeah. Wombat, I'm Getting on Life.
Yeah.
Johnny Bragg, they're talking about me. That's the first wave of stuff that I...
Sure. Isn't it strange, Pete, that you've mentioned some records there? I think we're fond of all of them in some ways through growing up, but some don't travel very well, isn't it? Odd that Wombat, I remember I didn't have it at Wigan, so I think maybe Russ played it, and it used to fill the floor. Yeah. But today it doesn't have the same impact at all.
It's a strange, it's kind of rock soul hybrid. Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a very strange one.
But if you take something like So Is the Sun, that's still huge. But that was a bit strange.
And the Wombat record was bootlegged 5 times. 5 different pressings.
Wow.
I know.
Wow.
It's unbelievable. I mean, So Is the Sun. That gets better and better.
It does.
As the years go by.
It does. It's great, isn't it?
It's fantastic. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
I play that when I occasionally DJ. Seeing those lads, that changed it all for me.
That got it all going.
And then I found out that because the Catacombs was just closing.
Yes, it was.
I wouldn't have been able to. My parents wouldn't have let me go.
Yeah.
I just turned 15. Yeah. There was a place in Willinghall, just down the road from Wolverhampton.
Yeah.
Called St Giles's. St Giles's Youth Club. It was known as Sammy's.
Right.
And they had an all-nighter.
Yeah.
And I was given permission to go to this when I was 15. And this is where I got to hear the new Monster sounds rather than the Astors and all these.
More of the Jimmy Mack and Rubin and things like that.
I mean, distinctly remember playing a record called Cool Off by the Detroit Executives.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, that's the worst record I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
A month later, I was desperately trying to get hold of a copy. It was, I got it. Yeah, nice memories of Sammy's. That ran for about 3 years. They even had their own sew-on patches. You know.
Here's a curveball for you. How absurd do you think the scene is?
In the sense of...
social media and everything you've seen, everything you've witnessed in your own time.
I'll tell you what is absurd. I never thought there'd come a day where the clothes that we were wearing in 1975 would come back again, and people take it seriously. I mean, the trousers were fantastic to dance in, but nowadays I just don't understand. But and also,
I think that's shrinking though, Pete. Now I think that's starting to wane.
Those trousers were dangerous, right? I'll tell you. Shall I tell you why?
Yeah.
Do you remember the long leather Macs that
Yeah.
everybody used to wear? Well, I was so proud of mine when I got mine when I was 18. Yeah. It was December '78, I think. And I hadn't got a car. I didn't learn to drive till I was 40. Right, but, got off the bus in the freezing cold. Right, I'd got my baggies on, my long leather, and it was cold. So I put my hands in my pockets, right, and I'm just literally running to my house, and I started to trip over my baggy trousers, right. But I couldn't get my hands out of my pocket of my long leather. So I knew I was going to hit the floor, but I had to choose which side of my face I wanted to land. And smacked on the floor, and I never wore baggy trousers again after that, because they're a danger to life. And I don't like seeing people. I know people enjoy themselves by wearing that sort of stuff, but I don't get it. I just don't. I don't understand the retro thing.
Yeah.
You know. Well, I say, retro.
I know what you mean.
I've dressed like this for 40 years, you know, with a thread pair and a pair of Levi's.
Yeah.
But and the dancing's gone strange as well. Everybody's doing acrobatics again. Or is that just for dance
I don't think they
championships?
are actually. As the guy who holds the mic at Blackpool Tower.
Don't you think the youngsters are?
I think what I see. Remember, I can't dance. I'm even worse than a dad dancer. So as somebody who stands on stage and hosts a competition, I think it's got quite clinical now. It's about fast feet. I see more of that. I do love the acrobats because I was there on the night of, I think was the first ever major dance contest at the Torch. Which Angela Lawrence from Rugeley won it. Yeah, and it was a sensational performance. It was Ian Clowry, Matchy and Frank Booper. These were three dynamite dancers. And it was really well put together. But I think today, I mean, we do it more at Blackpool Tower, more on a freestyle. Anybody can enter. It's a penalty shootout.
Yeah.
Do you want to dance? Get on the floor, do it, and let's see where it goes. But looking out at the people, the ones who seem to get the cheers are the ones who either do incredible acrobatics, but there isn't many of them anymore, but they tend to be the ones who've got these very fast feet. Yeah, the very fast feet.
I mean, I used to love doing that sort of dancing. To captain my ship and boogie with your baby and that sort of stuff. But
remember, you don't like modern. I've not banned you from using the word, by the way.
I don't like modern. It sounds like disco. I did like the stuff that was coming out in 74, 75, 76. You're something kind of mellow.
Okay.
That's
Johnny Williams.
Gentleman and the Lady, like her. All the up tempo. I really like them. It was only when it got to things like Larry Houston, Let's Spend Some Time Together, which was so low tempo, and I don't get those sort of records.
Yeah, well, they're called crossover now. Aren't they?
Was it the Pages, Heartache and Pain, disco? And I noticed that the spots at Wigan, Richard's spots, were getting longer and longer with that sort of music, and I'm not interested in hearing that. I want to hear 60s soul.
Yeah, he was probably trying to push it.
Well, he was. He succeeded.
The Mecca were doing it too.
Yeah, but he did. Well, you got your original 1975 split, but I think it split again in 80, 81. And there's a lot. If you said you were doing a modern and crossover night, I wouldn't go to it. I wouldn't. No. Don't get me wrong. I've got a lot of it. And I enjoy it. Anderson Brothers, things like that.
Yeah.
Nice. But
you like them?
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. So no, that's a myth that I hate modern. I just don't like it. Don't like it very much, but I don't hate it.
You've found a lot of stuff on the internet, and you've also found a lot of records. So let's do with the net first. You found the footage for Footsie.
I didn't find that.
But okay,
I made it public.
You made it public, right?
Yeah, somebody else found it.
But it was on Top of the Pops, wasn't it, originally?
Yes, it was, yeah.
Oh, did they lose
it was a lost episode of Top of the Pops.
Oh, I see, right.
And it's a girl called, her name's Venus.
Right.
She's from the northeast.
Yeah.
And that's what she does. She tracks down footage.
Okay.
And she found it in Australia.
Oh,
I think she paid a lot of money for that program as well.
Wow.
And she gave it to me, and it all came flooding back once I saw that. And
Yes.
I thought, I bet people would like to see this. So I said, can I put it up?
Yeah.
She says, go on then.
Yeah.
And so I did. I posted it up. And there was a lot of discussion about it, and you know, people say it's the worst thing that ever happened to the Northern Sea. And then, but I say the amount of people who actually got into Northern from seeing that, you can bet your life at Wigan the next week there was 1,000 tourists there.
There's always been strange records cropping up. There's strange records now, and there were very strange records 10 years before when the wheel was on. There were
Scratchy, Travis
Wammack, Kick That Little Foot Sally Ann, Round Robin. There's always been some odd things that have cropped up that are not like Rita and the Tiaras.
I'll give you a good example of that. I've got one in my box. I think it's called Gamera, Gamma.
The Moons.
That's right. Yeah. It's themed from a Godzilla type monster movie.
It was big for 2 weeks.
Covered up as Shingling at the Go-Go on Mickey Mouse Records.
Yes, correct. Yes.
That took me years to find out what that was.
Yeah,
but it is terrible. I've got it in a picture sleeve.
It was a very strange single.
Some of the instrumentals were crazy. Yeah,
I think it was a very high turnover back in the early days.
But the thing is, though, Kev, that's not that. People would say, "Oh, that's Wigan." It's not. That's Mecca. That was a Mecca discovery.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So you know, when I've spoken to Ian about things like Samantha Jones surrounded by a ray of sunshine, I was the first to play that. He says, so I played that at the Mecca first.
Yeah,
I thought it was Wigan.
I think. I'm not sure, but it was a very big Wigan Casino song.
It was.
I'm going to take a short break, and we'll be back to talk to Pete Smith, telling us all about collecting Northern Soul music. Let's have a look in your box and pull something that we're going to play.
You want to play one of my? Okay.
Show us something that I know you've got a box of magic tricks in there.
I mean,
show us something.
I mean, some I've bought more for the reason of actually what it is rather than play it.
Okay, let me put it on the. Well, tell us what it is first.
Well, it's
got writing on the label and I can't really see.
It's a handwritten test. It's a handwritten test pressing of "Open the Door to Your Heart."
Oh wow,
Darryl Banks. That predates the demo even, so it's the very first copy to come off the press.
I have that, but this is written in.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. And that should be blank. Somebody's filled it in.
It's written in.
And of course, that record never actually came out on London.
No, it didn't.
Because Stateside had the. Now I've also got. I haven't bought it with me. I've got a Jimmy Beaumont, You Got Too Much Going For You. And Barbara Lynn, You Left the Water Running, with the same typing and handwriting on it. So these are Rush releases. On the Jimmy Beaumont, it actually says somebody's put in biro, V important. So I thought maybe he was coming over to do a Ready Steady Go or something like this, and then need a to get it in the shops. But that thing, you see, that's worth about 1,500 quid, I would think. But I've got to be honest with you, I've had 5 maybe of those London demos. Not the handwritten one, but the ordinary type one. And I find the Stateside red and white is harder to find than the London.
You could be right.
Yeah, I've got that. I've got the London. I've got the Stateside red and white, and I've got the Stateside green and white, and that's rare as well.
Do you have the black issue?
Yeah. Well, that's a. Do you know what? One day those will turn up. You can't have one copy of the record. They're there somewhere. Yeah.
Well, what the last time it was sold? Is it just?
Well, it's only ever been sold once, Kev.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, because only one was ever found. It came from an ex-Decca employee.
Right, and the person's kept it. He's not.
Well, I think whoever it was sold to has kept it. Yeah.
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 Wow.
I wouldn't have actually bid on that because
Yeah.
I don't collect issues unless I have to, you know. So, there was another one here with a nice little story attached to it. Do you know this record? I presume you do.
Which is
Soul Joe
oh
Clements.
yes, I do. Another record that was kicking around in the early 70s, but it's never really done anything.
Well, everybody would say, who the hell is Soul Joe Clements?
Yes.
Now, if you turn that over, it tells you exactly who he is. I've actually written it down. If you can't read it, I'll read it out to you.
The SOS Band.
That's the name.
From Frodsham, Cheshire.
That is who Soul Joe Clements is.
Wow.
They made him change the name from the band to a person.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. It says they from Cheshire, 145 vocals, Phil Evans or Kent King, and they were the North West Coast Beat champions in 1967, and they got to cut one record.
On the Plexium label.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Not one of my favourite records, just a very hard one. I bought a few bits of British to show you.
We know you love collecting British.
Well, I only collect British, and there must only be 10 records I haven't got. Yeah, I would think. The main one being Billy Harner instrumental.
Okay.
But if you think about it, that's not a real release anyway.
It was just a mistake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Yeah.
There's one of the most in-demand records that you could possibly have. That's the Drifter, Ray Pollard.
The Drifter from Ray Pollard, which is very fashionable now. Daryl.
Yeah. But the other side is incredible as well. Let Him Go and Let Me Love You.
Yeah,
brilliant beat ballad.
Long John Baldry.
Long John Baldry covered it. And he covered that as well.
He did, yes.
I've got the Long John Baldry demo of that as well.
And Don Charles did it too, hasn't he?
I've got a Don Charles as well. Yeah. I've got another one as well. Can't remember who it is.
One of the Holy Grail, this group out of Barrow in Furness in Cumbria,
right.
Chapter 5, led by Dave McGurty. Know David very well. What an epic this is, You Can't Mean It. And it seems to have got better with age. I mean, it was popular at the time, but it's much bigger now, isn't it? Yeah, it's a great record.
It is a fact. One of the best, top 3 British productions of all time, I reckon that is.
It's superb.
That is, that's super rare.
It is.
That took me a long time.
Yeah, I have it fortunately, but it's a terrific record, that. Shane Martin, I Need You.
It is, it's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant. As the aforementioned Walter Jackson, It's an Uphill Climb to the Bottom, a record you put on and I'm getting the tingles from actually looking at it.
And this, I assume, is an easy sale on OK.
Well,
I mean, we know it's an easy sale on
it's only about
Columbia.
£25 on OK.
But I would think it flies out.
It sells OK. But these, I mean, that's only the second one I've ever heard of.
We were talking earlier about a very, very rare version of this. Can you just pull it out for us, Pete? Because this is a lady, I think she's out of South Africa.
She is South African.
And she was also part of Tony and Tandy.
Yeah, two can make it together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Which was a really big Radio Luxembourg spin. I actually bought it at the time. But this is a female version of It's Uphill Climb.
Yeah, it's a female version of Uphill Climb. But
wow.
Sharon Tandy, it was scheduled to be released on Polydor.
Good heavens,
which they pulled. And there's a couple of test pressing, but that's, as far as I know, that's the only original acetate of it.
Yeah.
But as I was mentioned to you before, it's quite a weak vocal. It's nothing compared to Walter's version.
I know Pete's been discussing one of his favourite records, so I think we ought to hear it. It's the wonderful Walter Jackson on his UK Columbia promo. It's an uphill climb to the bottom.
'Cause your baby's gone and left, and you're making it all alone. And it's an uphill climb to the bottom when your love has gone. When your love has gone. Say, ever since the day I met you.
We know about the auctions, and we know the dealers that are auctioning records for 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. That's not your bag, is it? You're dealing with the regular guy.
I don't like auctions because, first of all, it puts people bidding against one another, so that the actual price of a record, if it's £500, if these two go at it, it's going to go up to 1,000 or 1,200. And once that's happened, people will look at this and think, oh, I've got this, it's worth £1,200. It's not, it's worth £500. and that's why I continue to sell them at £500.
So you don't do auctions? No auctions?
I will never. Well, I think I might have done one, maybe two. When I honestly don't know the price and can't find out, so I'll just say, does anybody want to make me an offer?
Right.
I do not like auctions at all. And I bought a collection from someone recently, and he'd left all his auction prices that he paid. Some of them are 3 times what I sell that record for.
Good heavens.
I'm not joking. I mean, there was a copy of Spellbinders, Help Me on CBS. Great record, not a rare record. You know,
no, very popular though.
7,500 quid on an issue, maybe 200.
This is the UK CBS.
UK, yeah.
CBS, yeah.
Paid over £300 for a CBS issue.
So that's some loss.
Well,
Northern Soul's supposed to be an investment.
I put the same record out day before yesterday, at £100, and it didn't sell. So what that means is, next time I put it out, it's 75 quid. You know.
Do you make any goofs?
Yeah.
Like what this is, you know, one way you've sold it and then you get 20 calls from do-gooders to friends.
The worst one was probably the.
What have you done?
And the worst of it was I was selling it for someone else. Charly and the Soul.
Oh, Charly and the Soul Serenaders.
Yeah. I thought, never heard of this. I put it out at 15 quid.
It's a crossover record.
Yeah. When it was going for 500 quid, and he said, "You know what you've done, don't you? That's the contract between me. I've put that out at £15. I now have to sell it to you for £15.
Yeah.
So I did. And the person I was selling it for, I had to make up the rest of the money to her for losing her all that money.
No.
But,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but that's my fault, you know.
Yeah.
I've sold things like Ray Adji, I'm losing again for 500-600 quid, not knowing what it was.
Right.
I've got a copy of...
let's go into the.
I've got a copy
into the box.
You see, I people think I don't collect American records. I do, but I sell them for a living, so I don't keep expensive ones. I don't mind if I've got a pressing or a bootleg.
Yeah.
Right. This one.
Yeah.
Lou Lagland. I travel alone.
Yeah.
I could, if you've got a second, I could tell you a brilliant story of how I got this record.
Yeah.
Right. When I was down in Hastings, and I used to collect, still do, collect David Bowie.
Yeah.
And I'd got a friend in Connecticut, Julie, who I used to swap tapes with. And she mentioned she was going to a record fair in New York. And I said, oh, could you have a look for some records for me? Right. So I gave her a little list of records, and she came back. She said, I found your Lou Ragland record. Right. So she paid $1 for it or something.
Okay.
And I said, how much do you want for it? And she says, well, you know where you live in Hastings? I said, yeah. She says, do you know Fairlight Beach? I said, yeah. She says, well, Ashes to Ashes video was filmed there. Could you go and get me some sand from that beach and post it to me, and you can have your Lou Ragland record for nothing?
And I think we ought to hear it now. It's brilliant. A Wigan Casino classic. Well, my thanks today to an excellent guest, Pete Smith, telling us all about collecting Northern Soul music. A lovely piece of history. Hey, thanks for watching. See you next time for another episode of Northern Soul Time. To listen to some of the great music we've been talking about today, click the links below. If you want to buy great Northern Soul music, visit charlydirect.com.
With all the fellas standing around, yeah, please don't go. That's what they'll be saying. Please don't go. But I'm not playing, 'cause nothing can stop me.